Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here on the west coast of Canada. I hope everybody is having a great weekend thus far, staying healthy, strong, and optimistic. Hi Jaineel, welcome members. This lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com. That's academicenglishhelp.com, as well as GIELTS That's generalieltshelp.com. On both of those websites, we have lots and lots of help for you to improve your English, your communication, and of course, get some higher band scores on your next IELTS exam. This is our academic IELTS website here with the blue background. You can click that big red button to join the premium package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. You get lots of videos in HD, practice exams, and we are an IELTS registration center and certified agents with the British Council. This is our general IELTS website here with the green background. And again, click that big red button. It is just a one-time payment for lifetime access, and it really doesn't cost very much compared to the IELTS exam. So, well worth it. We, of course, have apps that connect to those websites. The apps are Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help. You can get those apps in your app store. Hi, Rajveer. Hi, Mahi. Good to have more members joining in. If anybody has questions, just send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. And we have this class and then a speaking class today. Of course, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, there's no classes. And then I'm back on Wednesday with speaking part 1. And we have our new schedule for that week. I will post this schedule on our YouTube community board as well. Okay, now we've got lots of members in the class. To become a member of our channel, you simply just need to click the join button next to the subscribe button on the channel. We have one members chat class and then one everyone chat class on Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and then we have another class on Wednesday for everyone. All right, so this is the task 2 writing question that we started yesterday. I'm just going to read the question and then the introduction, and then we'll get right into the body paragraphs, members. So we'll do lots of writing. I'll give you lots of feedback, so you'll have a good chance to practice today for that Band 9 complete essay. All right, here we go. So IELTS task 2 writing. You should spend about 40 minutes on this task. Online education is rapidly increasing in popularity. What has led to this development? What are the advantages and disadvantages of online learning compared to in-class instructions? Provide examples and explanations. Okay, so we paraphrased yesterday. We did lots of planning. We figured out some good answers. Of course, we realize that the topic is online education, and the controlling ideas are reasons for its popularity and the advantages and disadvantages. And of course, it's a third-person essay. That's important, members. Keep this in mind. It's a third-person essay, so third-person voice examples today. Okay, so this was the introductory paragraph that I came up with, and I know many of you came up with similar quality introductions. So here we go. Certainly, the revolution of online education is well underway worldwide. Modern technology, namely the computer and the internet, has enabled billions of people to learn from the comfort of their homes, and this has had a massive impact on education systems. Some negatives of remote learning are more distractions and less socialization, while the main reasons for virtual pedagogy's rise in popularity and its benefits are convenience, affordability, and diversity. All right, great. So we begin our body paragraph. And our body paragraph, according to my thesis, is going to deal with the negatives of remote learning. So this is my thesis statement here, starting from some negatives of remote learning are. And then I have more distractions and less socialization. Now, if I were writing a big university essay, I could probably separate these distractions and less socialization into 2 paragraphs, but it's the IELTS. I have about 300 words, so this is going to be 1 paragraph here that discusses more distractions and less socialization in greater detail to the reader. Okay, so our first step then, as many of our members know, is that for our body 1, we have to write a topic sentence. And the topic sentence basically introduces the ideas of the body paragraph in greater details. Okay? MA is asking, since we mentioned computer and internet, shall we say have enabled? Not necessarily. It's a very good question, MA. So because we mentioned the computer and the internet, no, because this is a descriptive clause here, and this description is actually describing technology. So the verb has is referring to technology here. Okay, so we don't need to write have enabled. Modern technology has enabled. This is an additive clause, so the verb is according to this subject here. Very good question, MA. Okay. Okay. For Dobbs, we are going to write about reasons, so that will be in the essay, but that's going to be in the second paragraph. Okay. So we can roll that all into the second paragraph. Again, remember, students, 300 words. You have to be very strategic here. Good questions, MA and for Dobbs. Okay, so topic sentence. Introduce in detail the concept or points of body paragraph 1. In this case, more distractions and less socialization. Okay. So this is your topic sentence. In some essays, you can have multiple too, like topic sentences. Okay. So we want to basically paraphrase the concept of more distractions or less socialization. Give the reader an idea of what this means. Okay. So, and of course, this is negatives. Okay. Okay. So here we go. Rajveer says one downside of online learning is that students are susceptible to lack of focus on the learning process due to the inappropriate study atmosphere. Okay, very good, Rajveer. So you're kind of separating them into 2 by the sounds of it. So you're starting with more distractions. I'm kind of grouping these together, so I'm really trying to stay within that 300, 350 words for the essay so that I have time to review for spelling mistakes and content mistakes, so really working on being concise. Nevertheless, Rajveer, you could do it that way. Just be as concise as possible, okay? This is what I wrote. So 2 commonly observed deficits of learning from the comfort of the home are plenty of competing stimuli. Stimuli are basically inputs. So they're impulses or inputs that we receive. Stimuli are actions in our world that get our attention. Let's put it that way. Okay? All right, welcome, Kyber. NBX is asking, can we do 2 problems and 2 solutions? This isn't a problems and solutions type essay, NBX Gaming, so be really careful. Always pay attention to the question. If you do 2 problems, 2 solutions, you're going to be off topic because the essay isn't asking what are the solutions for problems of learning at home or online. So that would be a different essay, MBX. So be really careful. That's not what this essay is asking you. Okay? All right? This essay is asking you about the advantages and disadvantages of learning online and the reasons for it. So be really, really careful. Make sure those are the questions you're answering. Okay? All right, so again, 2 commonly observed deficits of learning from the comfort of the home are plenty of competing stimuli that draw attention from studies, as well as a lack of interaction with peers. Okay? So basically, I've taken the concept of more distractions and less socialization and given these a clear definition for my writing. Okay? All right. Okay, so now let's keep focusing here, members. Let's go for an explanation. Okay, so here, basically, the concept that we're answering is the reader's going, okay, well, why? So why is there plenty of competing stimuli? What's going on? Why is there a lack of interaction with peers? So why? What do you mean? This is the kind of idea that's in the mind of your reader. So, you know, a lot of us writers, when we communicate, presenters, we tend to think that our audience knows this information, so we can just skip it. But it's not true. It's really important as a presenter to give explanations and ideas to convey these really step by step, okay? And even if your audience does know parts of what you're saying, the idea of good communication is also what's called affirmation. So where basically your audience goes, oh yeah, that's what I thought. I'm happy to read that that's what other people think too, because that means that it's probably true, okay? So this is what's called consensus. And you want consensus with your audience. That's a very good position to be, where you have consensus. It means you have agreement with your audience's thinking, okay? All right, Rajveer writes, moreover, virtual learning promotes alienation of students as they do not truly interact with peers, as they are not in the same classroom of study. Okay, Rajveer, the last part, there's a little bit awkward grammatically. Oh, sorry, let me try to read that again. Not truly interact with peers as they do in classroom study or in the classroom study. Okay, Rajveer, yeah, I get it. I get it. You'll have a good explanation coming after. Bakrat says online education is effectively, let's take out the is because your verb is increases, Bakrat. So online education effectively increases with distractions in several ways through internet study at home. That's a really nice start, Bakrat. Just be careful with your grammar. So take out the is because increases is your verb, okay? Make the E in education small because it's a common noun in that sentence. All right, Rashika says people meet more interruptions when studying online at home, and this leads to less focus on lessons and less communication with friends. Okay. Oh, it says online education has deficits because students tend to be less focused during sessions because they are away physically from each other. Okay, Otis, that's a little bit unclear. You're kind of grouping the two ideas, but not in a very clear way, so you might want to rethink how you word that. Okay? All right. Ferdov says, parents or children usually do not care about students' studies, and they interrupt students if they need help. Okay, so Ferdovs, you're going into the explanation. That's good. Rajveer's doing the same. Pupils can find it challenging to concentrate on live webinars continuously for 2 hours when family members are shouting and notifications from other software and applications are interrupting. Yeah, very good, Rajveer. Absolutely. And they are receiving notifications from other software and applications. So that's the missing verb there, Rajveer, is they are receiving notifications. Okay. Kashirsha says, frequently students live together with their families, roommates, or friends. Therefore, it can be problematic to fully focus on studying, having continuous noise on the background. Wow, students, I must say, it sounds like some of you are writing from experience, which is good. That's what you want to do, but I'm sorry to hear that a lot of you have that kind of experience. I know I do too. In fact, I've been doing an online course as well, so yeah, it's easy to be distracted, and working from home is kind of the same as studying from home as well, right? So it's true. Kashirsha, try to be a little bit more concise, okay? Actually, don't try, just do it, all right? So Kashirsha, you're writing frequently students live together with their family and friends, roommates. Just kind of group that. So write the same idea as Kashirsha, but using less words. So frequently, students are interrupted by their friends or family who often live with them, okay? And this is problematic. And this constant noise is problematic. So be concise, Kashirsha. Practice being more concise, okay? All right, Preeti says, furthermore, there are a lot of advertisements that pop up while learning, and it distracts pupils. And they are also absent from discussion with friends, which deteriorate broad ideas of study. Okay, Preeti, that's kind of a weak argument. I mean, we do have pop-up blockers so that you don't have advertisements popping up while studying. You can turn notifications off momentarily. So I don't know. I think that's a little bit of a weak explanation at the beginning there. I think being distracted by friends or family or other devices or by the food in the kitchen, for example, or mom's cooking, I think that would be a little bit of a stronger argument. Okay, so why? What do you mean? So okay. So again, keeping it concise, right? Friends, family, the television, or even the smell of a home-cooked meal can frequently distract home learners from their studies. And it is much easier to get up from the lesson and engage in these interruptions than doing this while sitting in a physical classroom. Okay, so yeah, really clearly give that to your reader. Okay, and I'm really going for that concise, content-heavy sentence. So, friends, family, the television, or even the smell of a home-cooked meal can frequently distract home learners from their studies, and it is much easier to get up from the lessons and engage in these interruptions than doing this while sitting in a physical classroom. Furthermore, learners are not able to easily engage in conversation and group work with their peers because they are often unavailable in time and or space with virtual learning. Okay, so that's my second point, okay? Kyber, by explanation, we mean exactly, so just going back here, by explanation, we mean explaining to the audience what you mean specifically by your topic sentence. So it's what I said here. So why are there more competing stimuli at home? Why are students not interacting with their peers as much? What do you mean by that? So what's your explanation for that? Okay. All right. So now that we have that, we can write our example. Okay. And the example here is basically a real world example that your reader or your audience can empathize with. So try to think of an example where 9 to 10 of your readers will say, oh yeah, that's happened with me. I can empathize. Okay, so that's what you want to be thinking about for your example, where basically your reader goes, "Oh yeah, that's happened to me before. I can empathize with that." All right. So think about that. All right. Ferdov says, for instance, if students have to complete a group assignment without knowing each other's behavior and character, it is tough to accomplish this task. Okay, try to be a little bit more specific for Dobbs, and I think that that example is almost a different challenge of this response. So I might rethink that one for Dobbs. Okay, maybe think of a different example. It's a good idea, and for Dobbs, you bring up a good point with your example. I think it's a good idea to think of 2, 3, 4 examples, and then choose the one that you think, aha, this is going to be the best. So don't rush your example, okay? So think of 2 or 3 examples and pick the best one. Ideally, it is an example that may be applied to both body paragraphs, okay, which will create a lot of cohesion in your writing. So good cohesive writing is really important for those high band essays, okay? Kyber, instead of saying for example, you could use for instance, of course, as in the case of, okay, as one case shows. There are lots of different ways, Kyber, that you can express for example. And of course, Kyber, I'm not sure if you watched our most recent HD video on the channel. One way to avoid saying for example in your writing or in your speaking is to simply just state the example. Okay, so when you have a good example, you don't really need to say, for example. The connection is clear for the reader. So if I read my previous sentence, okay, so not easily able to engage in conversation and group work with their peers. Okay, we can do an example like, when designing a business plan, in an online class, it is easy to procrastinate and play football with friends instead of doing the work. Also, delays happen because of poor communication among group members. Okay, so here, Kyber, notice how I'm not saying for example. So I'm just literally going right into the example. Okay, so when designing a business plan in an online class, it is easy to procrastinate and play football with friends instead of doing the work. Also, delays happen because of poor communication among group members. So there we have a very clear example of online learning, and I'm thinking of an example that, you know, a lot of people can empathize with. A lot of people take business classes online. A lot of people have assignments like creating a business plan to complete online, and I bet a lot of people procrastinate and don't finish these business plans that they're maybe working on in a group on the deadline because they're distracted with other endeavors at home and they're not communicating with their group members. Okay, so right into the example. Okay, all right. Oa says, when schools were in lockdown due to COVID-19, my kids attended their classes online, but during the sessions, they just played with their devices rather than listen to their teachers. Oas, that's really good. I think that's a very clever example in this case. So it's very real world. Okay. Now, because OS, we're writing a third person essay here. So again, remember, it's third person voice. Instead of saying my kids, just write many kids. Okay. Many kids attended their classes online, but statistically, they showed poor results because they were distracted by other devices and their parents. Okay. Kuldeep, procrastinate means to keep putting off the work. Like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. No, I'll do it next week. No, I'll do it tomorrow. So that's the meaning of procrastinate. Okay. All right. So now we can have a connecting sentence here. This is also often, of course, called the concluding sentence. So I might write something like, however, these deficits can be of online learning can be managed, and there are many benefits to such method of learning, of study. Okay, so I can create a short connecting concluding sentence. Don't overthink this. Your connecting concluding sentences should only take you seconds. Okay. Amanda, the difference between among and between is two. So between you and I. So there's two of us, between you and I. And among is with more than two. So among all of the students in the class and me. Okay, so I'll give you an example, Amanda. I am explaining the definition of among and between you and I. I'm explaining this essay among all of the members in this class. Okay, so between you and I, two, and among, more than two. Okay. All right, so next body paragraph. Body 2, same idea, okay? Topic, sentence, explanation, and example. You don't need a concluding sentence, in my opinion, here, because you have a conclusion after, so it's kind of awkward to conclude. Now, before I get into that, I'm going to read my body paragraph just to make sure it makes sense. It's not really redundant. So 2 commonly observed deficits of learning from the comfort of the home are plenty of competing stimuli that draw attention from studies, as well as lack of interaction with peers, friends, family, the television, or even the smell of a home-cooked meal can frequently distract home learners. From their studies, and it is much easier to get up from the lesson and engage in these interruptions than doing this while sitting in a physical classroom. Furthermore, learners are not able to easily engage in conversation. Okay, instead of engage, because I'm using it here, engage, it's a little bit redundant, are not able to easily start a conversation and group work with their peers because they are unavailable in time and or space with virtual learning. Okay, when designing a business plan in an online class, it's easy to procrastinate and play football with friends instead of doing the work. Also, delays happen because of poor communication among group members. However, these deficits of online learning can be managed, and there are many benefits to such method of study. Okay, that looks good. All right. So now I get into my body paragraph 2, which are about the benefits. So the convenience, okay, the affordability, and the diversity. And this is, of course, grouped into reasons. So for Dobbs, this goes back to your question, if you're still here. For Dobbs was saying, shouldn't we say something about the reasons? So yeah, we should, and I think this is exactly where we want to introduce that. So in this topic sentence, we want to tell the examiner, we want to tell the reader that we didn't forget about that part of the question, that what are the reasons of the popularity of online learning. So we want to emphasize that here in this topic sentence, okay? All right, so write this topic sentence and emphasize that these are the reasons why online learning is popular as well. So let me do the same, and then we'll compare, okay? All right. So there is my topic sentence, which really defines that second point of the thesis. And Firdavs, I see that you're still there and listening, which is fantastic, okay? So this is what I have here. Go ahead and write here, members. So just write your topic sentence, practice your fluency, okay? So as you've noticed recently in these task 2 classes, I'm pushing you, by the time we get to body paragraph 2, you should have a clear idea of what a body paragraph is, that topic sentence, that explanation, that example. And if you don't, please ask me, okay? And I'm pushing you for fluency. So there comes a time in your learning when you have to practice your fluency as well as your use of English vocabulary and grammar, okay? So it's time for that fluency to shine. Rajveer says, the prime reasons for the popularity of learning via the internet are that it empowers learners to study anytime, anywhere, as well as arguably an inexpensive way to acquire knowledge. Very nice, Rajveer. Firdavs says, the main reasons of online educations are students have a lot of options for courses and teachers, right, Firdavs? So get a little bit more into it like I have here. This is what I have. Many students favor and opt for online courses because it saves them time and money, and they can choose their educational path from a broad range of courses and teachers. And now if we combine our thinking, I'll take a little bit from Rajveer, that they can study, or that they can study anytime and anywhere. Okay, so if I want to broaden that a little bit more, all right? Okay, so explanation, what do we mean by that, right? Okay, through distance learning, students do not need to spend hours each week commuting to school, and they can pick from thousands of different courses taught by millions of teachers worldwide. Okay, now here you have to be a little bit careful because, of course, this topic sentence has a lot of content, so you could really write a very lengthy body paragraph explaining all of these points in great detail, but you do have to limit yourself. So this is where you definitely want to pay attention to time and your ability to finish the essay and also review the essay for mistakes. That's what I didn't do in my last official IELTS exam, is I didn't review the essay. I didn't check myself at this point. I didn't realize that I'm not going to have a lot of time, and I went into too much information. So learn from my mistake and avoid doing that, okay? So you don't have to go into great detail about all of these points, all right? So through distance learning, students do not need to spend hours each week commuting. Again, going into that quantitative language, right? So hours and hours. And they can pick from thousands of different courses taught by millions of teachers worldwide. So often, many of these courses cost a fraction of in-class learning because there are significantly lower overhead costs. Okay, so yeah, in-class learning is expensive. You need infrastructure, you need a building, you need tables, chairs, learning equipment, teaching equipment. So it's going to be much, much more expensive. And again, it's not a 1,000-word essay, so we're not going to go into that information. We can do that through the example. Okay? All right. Let's see what you have. So Ferdov says, education via the internet has given a chance for poor students to study in the third level education. Okay, so you mean graduate level, like university. Careful, Ferdovs, not to jump concepts, okay? I think that you're trying to include too much into your essay too quickly. Be really careful about that. You could lose your reader. So I kind of follow what you're saying, but careful. Okay. Rahul says the internet has eliminated all the physical boundaries, and because of that, they can learn from all over the world after comparing lots of options that suit their interests. Again, same thing, Rahul. It's kind of like what Ferdovs is doing. You're saying a lot of information, but it lacks clarity. So you want to rethink how you can express that in a clear way. Okay. All right. Rajveer says, since students can watch recorded lessons and opt for different courses taught by thousands of instructions while sitting on their couch, they can save many hours required for commuting to the institute for classroom teaching. Okay, that's very synonymous, Rajveer, with what I wrote here. Rashika says, students can simply attend a room for online class instead of the commute to university. This saves their time to spend with other important activities, as well as in comparison to university classroom tuition. Rashika, the money that you pay for school is tuition. Okay. So, business degree in physical university can cost over $20,000 in tuition, but the same degree completed online may only cost $2,000. Okay. All right. So here we go. A business degree in a physical university can cost over $20,000 in tuition, but the same degree completed online may only cost $2,000. Okay, and then I can keep going here as well. All right. Kyber says online learning has additional benefits, however, which are time saving. There's no contrast there, Kyber. I don't know why you said however. So online learning, careful with that. Okay, that using connectives or subordinating conjunctions incorrectly, students, can be really confusing to your reader and can drop your score. So online learning has additional benefits such as saving time and money and having the ability to choose from a broad range of courses from all over the world. Furthermore, individuals do not need to spend hours in order to commute to their classes. Be specific, Kyber, classes, okay? All right. Preeti says the internet makes courses approachable in an easy way. That word approachable, Preeti, is a little bit awkward. Accessible, Preeti, accessible. The internet makes courses accessible easily to students worldwide. They can spend little money to take courses and save time on commute. Careful not to repeat the word courses, okay? So be more concise. Watch your word choice, Preeti. Accessible easily or easily accessible. Okay, it's more accurate, right? Jainil says, in relation to my previous example, Jainil, third person, no my, no you, no I, nothing like that, okay? So in relation to the previous example, an article explained that about 75% of students were satisfied because of the diversity of learning options and inexpensive tuition fees while doing distance education, okay? All right. So now comes my conclusion. All right, the conclusion has 3 parts. It has the points restated, the argument strengthened, and a take-home message. Those are 3 parts to the conclusion of a persuasive essay. Before we get into that, again, let me just review this paragraph, make sure that I don't have really awkward mistakes. So many students favor and opt for online courses because it saves them time and money, and they can choose their educational path from a broad range of courses and teachers that they can study from anytime and anywhere, okay? Because you can study from teachers and study from courses. So I need the word from in here. That's a missing preposition. Through distance learning, students do not need to spend hours each week commuting to school, and they can pick from thousands of different courses taught by millions of teachers worldwide. Often, many of these courses cost a fraction of in-class learning because there are significantly lower overhead costs. A business degree in a physical university can cost over $20,000 in tuition, but the same degree completed online may only cost $2,000. Okay, good. Looking fine. I've got that connection of the business plan and the business course. So there's still a good kind of cohesion between my examples. Everybody sees that, hopefully. That's why I picked a business degree. Okay, and then the conclusion. So in conclusion, so now, again, I'm going to emphasize that reasons for the popularity. So for Dobbs, one more time. So this is why I didn't do a separate paragraph for why online learning has become popular, because it's throughout my essay. It's in my introduction, it's in my body paragraph too, and now it's going to be again in my conclusion. Okay? All right, so I'm going to write the conclusion. You write the conclusion. I see some thumbs up there for the clarity about the connection, which is good. Thank you for the feedback, Andre, Jainil, and Kyber. I'm going to write the conclusion. You write the conclusion, and we'll compare as we go along, okay? So in conclusion, although All right. So I'm going to keep it like that. I feel that my points are restated here. And I've given an argument and a take-home message as well. So in conclusion, although internet education can lack focus and interaction, its rise to stardom is fueled by its accessibility, cost, and variety. It is definitely an effective method of learning that is continuing to develop and helps propel humanity towards the next level of pedagogy. Pedagogy here, of course, is a professional way to say education. Okay? Kyber, the big difference between writing 3 paragraphs and 2 paragraphs is usually when students write 2 body paragraphs instead of 3, then the body paragraphs are more developed. Oftentimes, when students write 3 body paragraphs, one or more of those body paragraphs are not really well developed. They're vague. They're kind of like, okay, so, but with 2, they generally tend to have more content. That's why it's better to have 2. Okay. Rajveer writes, in conclusion, even though there are slight negatives of online education, such as lack of concentration and group interaction, millions of learners embrace learning through the internet as it is an easy and cost-effective way to gain knowledge. Really good. Okay. Kashirsha says the 2 main cons of online learning are occasional technical issues and its negative impact on socialization or on social development. However, the benefits of e-learning are accessibility and affordability, which outweigh these negatives. Okay, Kashirsha, good. We didn't actually talk about technical issues, so we have to be careful about that. Make sure that if you write that in the conclusion, Kashirsha, then it's in your essay also. So do not introduce new concepts in your conclusion, okay? That's really important, students. Do not introduce new concepts in your conclusion, which you do not discuss in your essay. Okay. Andre says, I strongly believe that online education has a great demand for modern people and creates opportunities for pupils and teachers to progress easily and quickly in their education. Okay, Andre, no I, right? This is not a first-person essay. The question is not asking for that. All right. Okay, everyone. So that's the full essay, and you've done a great job. I hope that has created further clarity on what you need to focus on during the exam for your task 2 writing. Again, you can get lots more help with your writing and with the other sections of the exam on our websites, aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for the general IELTS. The websites look like this: general IELTS green background. Click the big red button for a one-time payment and get lifetime access to the app and the website. And for the academic, it's the blue background at aehelp. That's it for this lesson. Great job, everyone. Again, I will be back in about half an hour where we will have an all chat class. Everybody will be able to join the chat. That will be for speaking part 3. So you're very, very welcome. David, if you felt the class was a bit heavy, go back and review it. Or as you're very welcome. I'd love to see more of your responses and practice writing in the class. Keep it up. And hopefully I will see all of you in 30 minutes. I'm Adrian. I'm signing out from beautiful Victoria for now. See you shortly. Bye.